the National Broadband Plan and the President have committed to making 500 megahertz of spectrum available, I think, over 10 years. One question is, will technology be able to fill in the gap in the short term? And maybe more broadly, is 500 megahertz enough, given you know, what you just talked about with new entrants and the like?
Yeah, thanks, Fred. I guess you know, I think you really have to applaud the administration for recognizing the importance of spectrum, coming forward with a broadband plan that you know, targets 500 megahertz, and also is trying to be creative in identifying spectrum that can be brought to market as quickly as possible. And I think what they're doing with potentially they announced on MSS spectrum and others, there really is an ability to try to, I think, to fill a short-term gap that you may not be able to create by just having spectral efficiency with new equipment and changes around equipment. So I think they've done a good job. I mean, for us, the most important thing is availability of spectrum, but certainty of spectrum availability. Because one of the things that happens is that you have that basic roller coaster ride on valuation. That you have, you know, times when there's a glut of spectrum and other times when there's such a dearth that prices are being driven up, people can't deploy. I think one of the things that the broadband plan talks about is to have something that provides some certainty, that lets people know that spectrum is not only available now for their needs, but will continue to be available. And to get back to my tonnage argument, if we are not just typical of what's going to happen when 4G gets deployed, but we're actually on the front edge of what's going to happen, and instead of 7 gig, you're going to have a lot more traffic, and that's what most people are predicting, and that's actually what we're predicting, and a lot more tonnage on your networks, then you're going to need more spectrum. So having the 500 megahertz, I think, is the right thing to do. I'm surprised by some of the CEOs of major carriers who say that they don't need spectrum. We're fortunate at Clearwire to have access, as I said, partly because of our EBS partnerships, to have enough spectrum to be able to offer, I think, a great product at a great price. And if you just look at some of the trends, there were 273 million devices that were connected to Wi-Fi. So if you think of 4G working as a Wi-Fi enabling device, that every device that can work on Wi-Fi can work off a Clearwire network because of something like our ClearSpot. There were 270 million devices in 2007. There will be 1 billion Wi-Fi enabled devices in 2012. Howard Stringer, the CEO of Motorola, said that he will have 90% of Sony. He said that he will have 90% of Sony products and devices enabled for Wi-Fi. 90%. Think of all of the products and devices that Sony sells. So we think that there's going to be a continued growth of usage. There's going to be a continued drawdown on the spectrum and on the use of the internet, and you're going to need more spectrum to help fuel that. So technology really does, you know, help, and we are a lot more spectrally efficient in our 4G network than we were in our precursor Expedience network, and you know, it's probably 10 times faster than the spectrally more efficient than some of the 3G networks.